Good evening and welcome to Look North. The headlines in Yorkshire this Monday night.
A wife who's bad for her husband's health. We meet the Yorkshire bus driver who's allergic to his wife and tell you why common cosmetics may be to blame.
Also tonight, the price of policing. Rival demonstrations over the weekend in Leeds. They pass off without major incident, but at what cost?
And hats off to a great British stage icon. Tommy Steele tells us about his latest production in Yorkshire.
Humbug. And the trees will continue to blow over the next few days, and there'll be rain or showers for most of us. Join me for your detailed week ahead forecast in the next 25 minutes.
First tonight, the M1 is 50 years old today, but what's it like living right next door to it?
Well, Look North has learnt that air pollution along the motorway in parts of Yorkshire is way outside healthy limits set by the government. Alan Whitehouse reports now from Tinsley in the east of Sheffield, on a road which is handling 10 times the traffic it was designed for, and on the problems it's caused.
When they fit a pollution monitor in your garden, you know you've got problems. In this case, it's an excess of nitrogen dioxide gas and the tiny particles of pollution that car exhausts produce. Hussein's been living with a constant fog of traffic pollution for decades now, and he reckons it's damaged his family's health.
My mother, she's 90, and she suffers from asthma. And she sits outside sometimes, and like I said, don't sit there, Mum, because it's too smoky, you might get worse. But she does get sometimes worse. My wife suffers from asthma. And I've got 1 or 2 people live in my street that do suffer from asthma. It has gone worse and worse. It's no good speaking, we need some action.
And these pollution figures show why. The horizontal line is the government's recommended maximum for nitrogen dioxide. The vertical lines show annual average readings in Town Street, where Mr. Hussein lives. The pollution levels have come down a bit, but they're still well over the recommended limit. The problem is that when the M1 was built, no one predicted it would ever carry today's levels of traffic. But more traffic means more pollution, and campaigners are now accusing the government of fudging the figures.
The first objective was 2005. That wasn't reached. So the objective was changed to 2010, and we're now approaching 2010 and it's still not been achieved.
Now the government wants a new target, 2015. Another 5 years of excess air pollution.
Obviously, they have a good laugh about this thing about moving goalposts all the time, and you know, and we're all hoping that this is the last time these goalposts are moved, and we can get that ball back at net.
Now, there's absolutely no doubt the M1's been a big driver for Yorkshire's economy down the years. It's brought jobs, prosperity, economic growth. But there's equally no doubt that if you live in a community like Tinsley, you've seen a big downside as well in terms of pollution, noise and quality of life. Alan Whitehouse, BBC Look North, Tinsley.
Alan, thank you. Also tonight, the price of free speech. Thousands of demonstrators took over the centre of Leeds at the weekend, the English Defence League and Unite Against Fascism. 2 groups completely opposed to each other. Although feelings were running high, there were only a handful of arrests, and in a moment we'll be talking to the policeman behind the operation. But first, Phil Bodmer reports.
Nazi scum off our streets!
Anti-fascist demonstrators chanting at supporters of the English Defence League. This was the moment the 2 sides came face to face. A potential flashpoint at a moment of high tension as police, batons drawn, separate the rival factions. More than 2,000 people took part in the protests on the Head Row and in City Square. The 2 sides were kept apart by hundreds of police officers. Now there are questions over the cost of the operation and whether the rally should have gone ahead.
I wrote to the Home Secretary to ask him to intervene to ban it, but because it was a static demonstration, it wasn't a march, the Home Secretary had no power to do so, neither did West Yorkshire Police. But I have to say, the police did a magnificent job.
At one point, an EDL supporter infiltrates the counter-demonstration by the UAF. He's attacked by an angry mob before police intervene. On the streets, opinion on the protests is mixed.
It's not freedom of speech, then, is it, if it's going to get banned, is it?
It has the potential to kick off
and it's nice to know that the police are out in force.
They're not really representing all of us in this great sort of multicultural, multiracial city.
It's like a war zone, like everyone is security.
Both sides at times try to confront each other, this group running through a side street towards the EDL in City Square. There, the police too were thwarting attempts to break the cordon.
Well, during the operation, I saw officers from North, South and West Yorkshire, Humberside, the British Transport Police, the Metropolitan Police, Cleveland, Durham and Northumbria. Now, a recent similar operation in Manchester cost the GMP £250,000 to police. But here in West Yorkshire, the police say they've yet still to work out the total cost.
This has probably been the biggest public order operation by